Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Thea George and I'm here with Mark Evans from HSBC. We're at EBAday 2017 in Dublin and we're talking about real-time payments. Mark, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
So obviously a lot of talk about real-time payments at the moment, but it's not new. We've seen schemes implemented throughout the world. Can you tell me a bit about why they've been implemented and what the impacts have been?
Yeah, sure. And you're right, real-time payments really aren't new, and I think depending on the country, some countries have moved to schemes that we would look at and define as real-time, even though perhaps by more modern standards they lack some of the features that you and I would be looking for in a truly modern real-time payment system. And it's those features that are really driving the implementation and the acceptance and ramp-up of real-time payment systems. Features such as request for payment, to allow a large company to request a payment from their customer base without having to rely on payments being pushed, such as the ability to address a beneficiary through an email address or a phone number. And these are the sort of features that really characterise real-time payments, and these are the features that we think will drive much more greater adoption in the future.
So what kinds of products have banks been able to deliver off the back of real-time?
Always we look to person-to-person payments as one of the first places where real-time payments have made a difference. You and I sharing a restaurant bill, for example. But more and more now, as the values rise, the threshold for the payments themselves rise, we're able to imagine new use cases. Those that I think are most valuable, those that our customers certainly at HSBC have found most valuable, are the ability to reach their customer base through a mobile phone. And they can do that by addressing their email, addressing some kind of unique ID, and these services find their way to a mobile phone, to a banking app, and they're allowing the ultimate payer to accept a real-time payment request almost on demand.
So in Europe, we've obviously got SEPA Instant coming and we've also got PSD2 coming. How do you see these two working together?
As we've heard the last day here in EBA, PSD2 still has some unknowns. There are some elements of PSD2 that really do need to be resolved in order to determine really how it will be leveraged. Things like strong authentication, what that really means from an end user perspective. If we get that right, and we do that in a way that really delivers a great customer experience, I can see PSD2 being a real enormous accelerator of the growth of SEPA Instant. And I can imagine use cases for SEPA Instant that begin to eat into perhaps more traditional ways of paying at the point of sale or paying online. So really important to get PSD2 right, really important that we don't overburden the end users with security.
So you mentioned PSD2, obviously a big aspect of PSD2 is this opening up of the market to new entrants. I don't think we could have a discussion about payments without talking about fintech new entrants. Are they disrupting, contributing, both?
If you'd asked me that question 2 years ago, we may have answered it a little differently to today. And 2 years ago we may have said they're beginning to disrupt. But as time has moved on and they've realised the value that they can bring, and banks have demonstrated in return the value that banks can bring, what's emerging is a time of collaboration where banks are realising their strengths and leveraging their strengths. Fintechs and smaller companies are bringing assets that the banks perhaps on their own could not develop. And putting the two things together is creating something actually quite powerful.
Mark, this has been great. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome, thank you.
And thank you for watching.